Hello, it's March 21st, 2020, and we continue to be in the midst of the coronavirus lockdown. And because I'm missing my grandchildren dearly, I'm reading some of their favorite stories from Grandma's house. And so this book is one that Bennett, Elliot, and Camden love dearly. It's called The Book of Giant Stories. And there are three stories in this book. I kind of think the first one is their favorite. We'll start with it. First, a little poem from the book. A careless giant once sat on top of a very small gnat. The gnat looked around and said with a frown, "That giant has ruined my hat." Chapter 1. The Little Boy's Secret. One day a little boy left school early because he had a secret to tell his mother. He was in a hurry to get home, so he took a shortcut through some woods where three terrible giants lived. He hadn't gone far before he met one of them standing in the path. Whoops. Here's the little boy. Uh-oh. That is one big, gigantic giant, isn't it? Whoa. When the giant saw the little boy, he put his hands on his hips and roared, "What are you doing here, boy? Don't you know whose woods these are?" "I'm on my way home," answered the little boy. "I have a secret to tell my mother." That made the giant furious. "Secret!" he bellowed. "What secret?" "I can't tell you," said the little boy, "or it wouldn't be a secret anymore." "Then I'm taking you to our castle." Stooping down, the giant picked up the little boy and plopped him into his shirt pocket. Before long, the first giant met a second giant who was twice as big, 3 times as ugly, and 4 times as mean. "What's that in your pocket?" he asked the first giant. "A boy," he answered. "Says he has a secret he won't tell us." When the second giant heard that, he laughed a wicked laugh. "Won't tell us," he said. "Well, we'll just see about that. To the castle with him." The giants thumped on down the path. In a short time, they came to a huge stone castle beside a muddy river. At the door, they met the third giant, who was 5 times bigger, 6 times uglier, and 7 times meaner than the second giant. Looky there. He's looking into his eye. "What's that in your pocket?" he asked the first giant. "A boy." "A boy?" He brought his huge eye close to the pocket and peered in. So that's the third giant looking at the little boy. "Says he has a secret he won't tell us," said the first giant. When the third giant heard that, he laughed a terrible laugh. "Won't tell us? Well, we'll just see about that. On the table with him." Looky there, there's a picture of all three giants. And the little boy's right there in the pocket. Oh, here he is. He's on the table. All three giants are looking down at him. The first giant took the little boy from his pocket and set him on the kitchen table. Then all three giants clustered around and peered down at him. The little boy looked at the first giant. He looked at the second giant. He looked at the third giant. They were truly enormous and quite mean looking. "Well," said the first giant. "We're waiting," said the second giant. I'll count to 3, said the third giant. 1, 2. The little boy sighed. Oh, all right. I suppose I can tell you. But if I do, you must promise to let me go. We promise, answered the giants. But they all winked sly winks at one another and crossed their fingers behind their backs because they didn't really mean to let him go at all. The little boy turned to the first giant. Bend down, he said. When the giant leaned down, the little boy whispered into his ear. When the giant heard the secret, he leaped up from the table. His knee shook. His tongue hung out. Oh, no, he shouted. That's terrible. And he dashed from the castle, ran deep into the woods, and climbed to the top of a tall tree. He didn't come down for 3 days. The second giant scowled at the little boy. What's wrong with him? He asked. Never mind, just bend down. And when that giant leaned down, the little boy stood on tiptoe and whispered into his ear. When the giant heard the secret, he leaped up so fast that he knocked his chair over. His eyes rolled, his ears twitched. How awful! He roared and he raced from the castle, ran over a hill, and crawled into the deepest, darkest cave he could find. The third giant scowled fiercely at the little boy. What's wrong with them? He asked. Never mind, said the little boy, just bend down. When the giant leaned down, the little boy climbed onto a teacup and whispered into his ear. When that giant heard the secret, he jumped up so fast that he ripped the seat of his trousers. His teeth chattered. His hair stood up. Help! Help! He cried, and he dashed from the castle and dove head first into a muddy river. Look at that. There he goes. I don't know what the secret is, but it scared the heck out of the third giant, didn't it? The castle door had been left open, and since the giants had promised the little boy that he could go, he walked on home. He told his mother his secret, but she didn't yell and run away. She put him to bed and fed him some supper. Oh, look there. Mom's bringing him something to eat in bed. What's the secret? The next morning, when the little boy woke up, he was covered from head to toe with bright red spots. Now I can tell everybody what my secret was, he said with a smile. My secret is I have the chicken pox. Apparently giants don't like chicken pox, huh? The end.